The U.S. Justice Department is now calling for an internal investigation after the New York Times reported the Trump administration seized phone records from at least 2 Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee. And now Senate Democrats are demanding former attorneys General Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr testify. CBS's John Dickerson is hosting Face the Nation this weekend, and he is live in New York for us tonight. John, both of them key allies of the president. This is a big deal.
It is a big deal because it goes back to the very founding of the American Republic, and where the founders said that there was going to be a system of a number of branches, 3 branches, and the legislative and the executive would be separate. They did that because they knew that if one branch got too powerful, it would lead to an abuse of power. When you have the executive branch in the Department of Justice investigating the legislative branch, that leads to those kinds of abuses. And particularly since this was over the Russia allegations and leaks about it, it represents another story with the Trump presidency in which there were a number of allegations, including the ones that led to his first impeachment, that the president abused his power and that his administration abused his power. And that's why this is so important. It suggests more of that. We don't have all the reporting and certainly further investigation inside the Department of Justice or in Congress would settle exactly what was going on and what they were looking after in this leak investigation. But it is extraordinary.
Also tonight, President Biden is in the United Kingdom for the G7 summit, meeting with world leaders, and there's a lot the president says that he wants to accomplish with this summit.
There is. He's meeting not only with leaders of the largest economies, then he'll meet with the leaders of NATO, the security alliance created first to push back against the Russians. And then next week, he'll meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. On this trip, the number 1 issue is the coronavirus, trying to stamp it out not only in developing countries, but in other countries, the lower income countries. The G7 nations have pledged 1 billion vaccines. The problem, of course, is getting them into people's arms, not just providing the vials to the lower income countries. They're doing that for moral reasons, but also they know that if the virus continues to spread in different parts of the world, it can come back into the United States or any of the other developed countries. Then the other big issue is China, a rising power that threatens the United States in a competitive way and in an aggressive way, but also those European nations. President Biden is trying to rally them all to act as a counterweight to China with its aggressive aims, both economically and militarily. And then finally, Russia. The president's meeting with Russia is going to range on everything from discussions about Ukraine, where Russian troops have been on the border, to those ransomware and cyber attacks, many of which have originated from inside of Russia.
John Dickerson live for us in New York. Thank you so much. You can watch John on Face the Nation Sunday morning at 10:30 on WBZ. Eric?